Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is Thursday's 13 episode. We were covering 13 things on the list. Today is diseases that have been almost eradicated, not completely, but almost eradicated by vaccines. Because, they are actually useful and help people live longer. Who would have thought? This is Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of planet Earth podcast, where we look up our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we started, and we haven't had any caffeine. That doesn't give you an excuse, though, so if you want to get junked up? That's not the word. You want to get jorked?
Jerked. Yeah, look at jerked.
That's a different one. Anyway, let's get a cup of coffee.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, it's my birthday today as well. I'm turning the glorious age of 31. Nobody ever celebrates 31. They only celebrate 30, and then they forget until 40 and 50. We're in the decades, everyone, where you start celebrating only your decades. And let's get into our headlines for today's show. Today on Before Coffee, comedy on prescription. See stand-up shows trial to treat depression.
90 dolphins are stranded in Australia and are being euthanized. Plus, thousands rescued from notorious scam compounds in Myanmar.
Caribbean leader urges Ursula von der Leyen to push for slavery compensation from the EU.
And on Thursday's 13, we're going to talk about the 13 diseases that have been nearly eradicated by vaccines.
British Egyptian archaeologists reveal Pharaoh's tomb after nearly a century of no significant finds.
And it's National Comfy Day, so get comfortable for the next hour or so, because it's February 20th. 2025 on Before Coffee.
You just have to kind of become the chair.
If I do, I never want to move.
Exactly. You don't want to get back up. That's probably one of the worst things about getting comfy is, you know what? I'm going to stay here. Why do I need to get up? I'm just going to stay here.
Right. And then the phone rings.
Yeah. Oh, it's over there across the room as well. I just don't answer, but that's me. Okay, let's roll our segue wheel and see what you're gonna have to make while I read my story. Oh, it's literally in between bad pun and non sequitur, but it's saying it was bad pun. So you gotta give me a bad pun. Which is great because we're doing a story about comedies used to cure depression. So comedians love having puns. This is by Richard Wheeler on The Independent. Comedy is being trialed as a potential treatment for mental health issues in a groundbreaking new scheme. The initiative, dubbed Comedy on Prescription, aims to explore whether laughter can offer an alternative to traditional treatments like antidepressants and potentially reducing NHS costs. Yeah, just go in a room and laugh for an hour. You're gonna feel great. Pride Health, a tech company spearheading the project, has secured funding for a social prescribing scheme that uses comedy-based interventions. These include stand-up performances and workshops designed to connect lonely, isolated, and vulnerable individuals with their communities. I agree. Even though you go to a comedy show just to see some guy stand on a stage under a spotlight, there is a community feeling you feel, right? Being in the audience, laughing at the same stuff as they do, maybe even if they do some crowd work, right? I can't believe that guy's a nurse or that guy's a plumber, and you learn about people in the crowd, and maybe people even learn about you. And you can learn to have some, not just empathy, but humility. Because sometimes, they'll poke fun at you and be like, really? You do that for work? Yeah. I'm an accountant. So, crowd work is really great. Anyways.
Tell me about numbers.
Yeah, tell me about numbers. The project has garnered support from Labour MP Dr. Simon Ofer, a vocal critic of over-the-prescription medication. Dr. Ofer has previously highlighted the potential of laughter as therapeutic tool, stating in Parliament that making people laugh can avoid the need for medication. He has championed previous social prescribing initiatives, including art-based programs in Gloucestershire. My mouth got stuck on that one.
Gloucester.
Dr. Orfor has partnered
Gloucester.
with Craig founder Lou Jackson to further the initiative. The pair will host a parliamentary event on the March 13th to discuss the impact of ongoing trials, which are currently being conducted in London's Westminster area. NHS figures show that 8.7 million people in England took antidepressants in 2023 and 24, an increase of 2.1% compared to 22 and 23. National Institute for Health and Care Excellence, NICE, I love that they have an institute for that called NICE, guidelines no antidepressants should not be routinely offered as the first treatment for less severe depression unless it's the patient's preference. So, give me the drugs. 1 in 5 adults are on antidepressants that are partly because there's no other treatment really often available, Dr. Orfor said. If you go and see a GP with mild to moderate depression, you get referred for psychology that's often a 4 to 6 month wait. So you're not going to that as a GP. That's not a supportive treatment. So what else do? You reach for your prescription pad. So that's where people like Lou come in. Dr. Orfor said he had done a lot of social prescribing over the past 25 years, including poetry, visual arts, and allotments, but this was the first time he had tried comedy. I've worked with a lot of art forms and things like exercise, and comedy is closest to music. I think it is closest to music, because it gives you a shared experience that gives you a reaction, he said. Ms. Jackson said comedy on prescription could help reduce the costs linked to mental health issues in the country, noting there could be immediate and longer-lasting health benefits connected to comedy. She said, it's a cortisol decreaser, dopamine producer, potent release of serotonin, endorphins, and good neuropeptides. You hear that? If you want to reduce your back pain, I guess code laugh a lot. Oh, no, wait, you need to increase your cortisol, don't you? Never mind. Opposite thing. Don't laugh too much. It decreases your cortisol.
No.
Having joy increases your pain. Going to one comedy workshop, or going to one stand-up comedy event, or having a comedian come in and teach kids how to improvise and giggle at themselves, it's got an effect for 24 hours. Surely that's better than prescribing antidepressants. Ms. Jackson said Craig had received a grant from one Westminster charity, and Westminster libraries offered their facilities for the initial events. They have included events for homelessness, disadvantaged communities, and for older people, which was also supported by a befriending service. You make a friend with a local community member, and then also let's go for a laugh. Miss Jackson said, it's been a community and team effort to put it all together, but the whole aim of it was to offer one Westminster is a social prescription charity, a social prescription solution to people who are isolated, lonely, and potentially disadvantaged. For all 3 events, people have come in feeling 3 out of 5, and they're leaving almost all of them feeling 5 out of 5. Conservative Councillor Rob Rigby, the Lord Mayor of Westminster, said he was impressed by his visit to Craig event at St. John's Wood Library in London. A comedy on prescription shows illustrate the fact that comedy is a great way of uniting people, relieving isolation, and making us realize what we all have in common, often by laughing at it. It was clear to me older residents value the show and the social benefits. It really is a shame. A lot of people don't want to hear it, right? But when you're depressed, going outside, talking to people, reminding yourself that you're not alone is really one of the strongest medicines. That's what I do. Because I have some depression a lot of times, that little voice in your head saying, oh, why am I even here? And then I go, well, because there's people out there, and it's not even that they care about me, but I care about them. So why would I want to abandon them and make them feel abandoned if I were to check out, so to say? So, comedy, so if you're feeling depressed, maybe try going to a comedy show, get yourself out there, and belly laugh like you've never belly laughed before. Well, hopefully it's a comedian that you think is funny. It would be bad if you go to a comedy show and it's like, this guy's not funny. Why am I here?
Well,
more pressure for the comedians.
Well, maybe it'll cheer you up and make you think you could be a comedian. Because that guy's so funny, I could do that.
My story. You got a pun for me?
I had a pun when you said it was good for my back. It was wisecracks are better than back cracks, but I ended up with wisecracks will help you from cracking up. I had a second joke for back, which was, well, it'll save me a trip to Cairo because I was going to visit my chiropractor. Anyway, that's my three terrible puns.
There's a bad
Only
pun.
one of them. I know.
Only one of them you'd even call good. Well, that's good. It's a good thing we had to do bad puns, not good ones.
So
my next segue
will keep you from cracking up. Okay, your next segue on my story. Okay, my story
non-sequitur.
Non-sequitur and dolphins dying. So we're going to go to ScienceAlert.com. 90 dolphins stranded in Australia are being euthanized. Here's why they can't be saved. Really sad. Yep. I want a pet dolphin. They call them killer whales in other stories, but they're actually porpoises.
Yeah.
I can make a bad pun about porpoises, right? Wildlife rangers will Wednesday begin shooting 90 dolphins. Well, this is a little bit older, so it happened yesterday. Shooting 90 dolphins stranded on a remote Australian beach, saying the stressed creatures would be euthanized after attempts to refloat them failed. A pod of 157 dolphins from a poorly understood deep-sea species was found stranded Tuesday evening on an isolated beach in Australia's southern island of Tasmania. Tasmania Environmental Department said only 90 survived by Wednesday afternoon, growing increasingly stressed the longer they were exposed to the beaming sun and lashing winds. There's a photo of them here. Aerial photo. Wow. Following expert veterinary assessment, we have made the decision to euthanize the animals, the incident controller, Shelley Graham, told reporters. That's likely to be the course of action for all 90. They appear to be members of a large dolphin species known as false killer whales, officials said, named for the orca shape of their skull. How would you like to be known as the false killer whales? It's not even a real name.
That's why they're beaching themselves. Damn.
Yeah,
take these whales to a comedy show.
No shit. They gave them a depressing name. Why can't we be real killers? Efforts to refloat the dolphins, which can weigh upwards of 1 ton, had fallen short and were unlikely to succeed. Try moving something that weighs 1 ton. You won't move it at all. This is possibly the trickiest location I've seen in 16 years of doing this in Tasmania. It's extremely remote, extremely difficult to get access, says biologist Chris Carleon. We've given a good crack this morning, but we are running out of options for a successful refloat. Dozens of sleek and dark-skinned dolphins were pictured Tuesday wallowing in wet sands as the shallow tide lapped against them. Euthanasia of an animal this size, it's not a simple exercise. It is reasonably common for pods of false killer whales to strand themselves on Australia's beach, but officials said it was the first time in 50 years they had beached in that part of Tasmania. Often we don't get to the bottom of the ultimate cause, says Carleon. They have really strong social bonds. One disoriented individual can drag the rest of them ashore. Oh, geez.
Yeah.
The dolphins were stranded on the beach near the Arthur River Inlet on the west of Tasmania and sparsely populated area known for its wind-swept coastlines. That little map with a circle. If you know Tasmania, you're well versed in the geography of Tasmania. It kind of shaped like Ohio, the state of Ohio. The remote site of the dolphins. Okay, the moment a whale or dolphin strands, the clock of survival starts ticking, said marine scientist Vanessa Pirata. We don't yet understand why whales and dolphins strand. Tasmania has proven to be a hotspot location for seeing mass strandings like this. Perhaps it's a geographical location, which makes it difficult to navigate around. False killer whales can reach up to 6 meters in length or 20 feet and are known to as highly social species that gather in pods of 50 or more. Big adults can weigh more than 1 ton, which we see, according to the U.S. National Oceanic NOAA. The species is often involved in a mass strandings that can wipe out whole schools involving hundreds of animals. Yeah, we've covered that. Little is known about false killer whales, according to the government, which hasn't bothered to give them a real name. And there are no reliable estimates of their population size. The Australian government lists their conservation status as near threatened. Yeah, give them a real name. Maybe they'll stick around longer. So there's your story on killer whales. I mean, false killer whales. which probably have been euthanized by now because it's early Wednesday morning. And we're going to go to Thailand and Myanmar. I'm not exactly sure where this is. It's probably crossing the borders. This is from Newser.com, Rob Quinn. Thailand says thousands of people from numerous countries have been rescued from the notorious scam centers on the other side of its border with Myanmar. Prime Minister Pantogkarn Shinawatra said on Wednesday that around 7,000 people were rescued from the illegal operations or waiting to be transferred to Thailand, The Guardian reports. For years, crime syndicates have been luring people, often with good English or Chinese language skills, to Thailand with fake job offers, then trafficking them to centers in Myanmar where they are forced to try to scam people around the world. Thai authorities have launched a fresh crackdown on the centers last month after Chinese actor Wang Jing was abducted in Bangkok, where he had been promised a lucrative acting job, Reuters reports. He was later rescued from Myanmar. Shinawatra promised to shut down the centers after meeting with Chinese leader Xi Jinping, reports the BBC. Among other moves, their government cut off access to power and internet to some areas on the other side of the border. Some 260 workers from 20 countries, mostly in Africa and Asia, were repatriated last week. More than half of them were from Ethiopia. The rescued workers said they were forced to work for up to 20 hours a day trying to defraud people on messaging services like WhatsApp, and were beaten and given electric shocks if they failed to meet targets.
Wow.
Holy shit. Is this happening in the 21st century? My God. The AP reports that the repatriations were organized by a group of Myanmar called the Border Guard Force, though critics accuse it and other ethnic militias of protecting scam operations in the border region where Myanmar's government has little influence. So there's your story on some weirdness going on in Myanmar. And, of course, the dead dolphins. And I did send you a video, by the way.
You know what? Maybe I think the dolphins heard about this terrible thing happened in Myanmar, and they were trying to show us by beaching themselves.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously what happened here, because those stories are completely related to each other.
I can see where you drew that conclusion.
Yeah, causation, correlation, something.
Happened at the same time at Earth. They're obviously related, right? It's synchronicity.
Obviously.
Right.
Okay, let's go to your next segue on the wheel.
Yeah, spin the wheel.
Reminds me of a song.
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Okay.
Well, there's a lot of Caribbean songs maybe you can think of here for my story from... Oh, here we go. Sonyo Koromi. On Politico. Wait, my story isn't here, but it's just the headline. Okay. Grenada Prime Minister Dickon Mitchell publicly challenged European Commission President von der Leyen to demand an appropriate apology and financial compensation for Europe's history of facilitating the slave trade. Mitchell, the outgoing chairman of the Caribbean community, CARICOM, raised the issue in a speech at the bloc's conference, which was also attended by von der Leyen, United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres. I don't mean to be impolite, but I'll say this to you. The issue of reparations for the transatlantic slavery and the enslavement of African peoples and black bodies is an issue we will take up with you, Mitchell said, addressing von der Leyen directly. As long as we do not openly and explicitly reject the idea that one human being can own another human being, we run the risk of that idea taking root again somewhere, like Myanmar. That's definitely what's happening in Myanmar. And there's also an Indonesian who had slaves too. It's all happening. It's still happening. And we allow it to flourish and happen again in the world, said the Grenadian leader stressed. Several European nations were involved with traffickings of millions of Africans across the Atlantic between the 16th and 19th century. Mitchell added that as the descendants of people who fought for their freedom from chattel slavery, they owe it to themselves to ensure the transatlantic slave trade is recognized as a crime against humanity, accompanied by an official apology and reparations. Give us some of that cash. Europe made a lot of money off of us. Can we see it even a fraction of it for our own countries that we are now ruling. Following the speech, von der Leyen briefly addressed Mitchell's remarks in her own speech, stating that slavery is a crime against humanity, but did not signal a European apology or mention financial compensation. Because if Europeans have to apologize, then that's admitting that they did it, like the governments did it. It's one thing to say, oh no, we didn't trade slavery, those were the merchants. They did that. And actually, for example, the Netherlands, it was illegal to own slaves. So you could do it everywhere else. But in the Netherlands, the country, it was illegal, so they're not guilty of all that slave trade. Those were individuals doing the slave trade. That's what a lot of apologists say. No, it wasn't the government giving you the right to do it or anything. I will also read, I guess, the speech. Because that sure was shorter than I thought it was going to be. It said it was 4 minutes, but that was more like 2 minutes. So I'm going to read the speech for von der Leyen at the opening ceremony of this CARICOM conference. Just the whole speech. It's not that long.
Really?
Okay. It's longer than the story that I just read, anyways.
Okay.
Presidents, Prime Ministers, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to me to join you at this summit of the Caribbean community, and it is no coincidence one of my first trips abroad since being re-elected brings me to this region. The Caribbean and Europe may sit on different sides of the ocean, but in recent years we have decided to stand on the same side of history. You are one of the strongest and more respected voices in the fight against climate change and to protect nature. And we made history together with Paris Agreement and the Loss and Damage Fund. We have championed together a bold reform of the global financial architecture to address the climate crisis, lift more people out of poverty, and end food insecurity. You have spearheaded this work, including through the Bridgetown Initiative, and then, when Russian tanks rolled into Ukraine, you were the first region bloc to stand with Ukraine, with Europe, and with international law. You did it because of your unwavering values. Your unwavering values compass, but also because a lawless world, where might makes right, is just more dangerous for everyone. You have constantly and consistently called for a just peace, not only in Ukraine, but also in the Middle East, in Sudan, in Haiti. And yes, Honorable Dickon Mitchell, slavery is a crime against humanity. The dignity and the universal rights of every single human being is untouchable and must be defended by all means. You always stood unwaveringly in the side of human rights. 3 years after Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, we live in an even more challenging world. And this is why the Caribbean and Europe need to need each other more than ever before. Sorry, I can't read also because I'm reading so long, my context gets sticky and then I can't see, so I have to blink.
I hear you.
Yeah, okay.
No.
I'm guessing what it says while I'm blinking. This is why the Caribbean and Europe need each other more than ever before. Major economies are competing for access to minerals, new technologies, and global trade routes, and you know exactly what this means for everyone else. Smaller countries, be they Europe or Caribbean, risk not only being squeezed, but cut off from the global supply chains. You have already faced situations when it was impossible to procure batteries or electric cars or vaccines. This is not just unfair. It is in no one's interest. Because there are challenges that all countries face, whether large or small, developed or developing. We all need to stop and reverse global warming. We need to protect nature, the foundation of our livelihood. We all need to face rising threats to human health, and we all need to grasp the opportunities of the digital economy while managing its risks. One challenge like these, we are not in a race against each other. We are in a race against time. So even in a moment of harsh competition, we need to join forces, and this is what brings me here today. In this world where there is a clear attempt by some to build spheres of influence, where competing visions of the world are leading a more transactional approach to global affairs, where the disruptive potential of intense competition is rising. In this world, Europe's offer is clear. Let us look for mutual interest and work together. The two regions have so many interests in common. In the last few years, our investment partnership has become stronger and deeper. First and foremost, on the decarbonization and nature protection. Europe understands how the fight against climate change is paramount to Caribbean states, because it is intrinsically linked to your very existence. Yeah, if those water levels rise, the Caribbean states won't exist. We understand how fundamental it is for small islands to have a front seat at the table where you can be the strong voice you deserve to be in this cause. Let us be very clear. All continents will have to speed up the transition to climate neutrality. We all have to deal with the growing burden of climate change. Its impact is impossible to ignore. Heat waves across Asia, floods from Brazil to Indonesia, from Africa to Europe, hurricanes in the US and the Caribbean. The clock is ticking, and yes, we are on one planet. Climate change must still be our top priority on the global agenda, and its impact on development should be the same level of priority. The whole world needs to move towards net zero. Every region should develop its own clean tech value claim chains, and every region should reap the economic benefits. This is a central goal of our Global Gateway Investment Program. Today, we are launching a new energy transition partnership to produce clean energy and clean hydrogen in the Caribbean. We also are working on local clean tech value chain. For instance, by turning sargassum, which we've loved talking about sargassum on this show, the great sargassum that happens during the autumn, I think.
Seaweed.
Or maybe sargassum is coming soon. Coming soon.
Yeah,
Get excited for it. We need the sargassum countdown. The dangerous seaweed is a source of clean energy. Together we can build local solutions to the most burning global issues. What we have to do is join forces and tap into its potential. And there is so much potential in the Caribbean. You have a skilled workforce, a strong education system, and many rising industries. I know you want to move up in global value chain, and this is an interest we share. Let us take an example of pharma. You all remember the disruptions of COVID, when it was almost impossible to cure not only vaccines, but also basic medicines like paracetamol. Prime Minister Motley, dear Mia, you have mentioned several times your concerns on silent pandemic but antimicrobial resistance. Today, we all understand that every region needs to build its own pharma value chains. This is why we are launching together a package for local pharma production in the Caribbean. It includes global gateway and private investments, but also regulatory cooperation. It includes more exchanges between universities, for researchers, but also for skilled people. All this to build a Caribbean pharma industry, starting with Barbados and Guyana. Europe has a unique expertise. We are ready to share it, and so you can diversify your economy, because this is de-risking global value chains, and this is in our interest. That is what I call a true mutual interest. So, in this world of giants, small island states can find a place at the heart of the global value chains. With the right investments, you can play a big role in a digital and decarbonized global economy, and this is so important not just for your people, but also for a more balanced and resilient global economy. In a world of change, we all need reliable partners, and this is what you are to us. Europe will always be ready to listen and engage with you. As a principled, like-minded, and trusted friend, I hope that Europe represents the same for you. Thank you. Long live the Caribbean, and long live Europe. So there's your speech on where she will totally listen to the Caribbean and engage with them, but she will not apologize. I mean, it's on Europe's behalf, right? She wasn't there. As far as I know. I mean, we can look at her family history, but as far as I know, Ursula von der Leyen wasn't there trading slaves, but
no.
Yeah.
Non sequitur speech, if you ask me. But anyway. I thought it was about slavery, and it'll be about global warming. Okay. Yeah, sure. I got a song now.
Okay. What song did it remind you of?
When I thought the story was about slavery and not global warming, which I thought it was. Of course, when I think about slavery, the one song that pops into my head is I don't want to work. I just want to bang on the drum all day. That's the song I think about.
Okay.
By Todd Rundgren. Bang on the drum all day.
I agree.
Look it up. It's a great.
Nobody wants to work.
It's a great. I don't want to work just for my slave wages, which is what a lot of people get paid anyway.
Mm-hmm.
It's like slavery, but with pay, because you still have to get on welfare because they don't pay you enough, or you have to work a second job, or you got to pay for childcare while you're at work. So we live in a modern form of slavery. So every Friday, every chance I get, I put on that song. I don't want to work. I just want to bang on the drum all day. All right, so
let me roll my wheel, and then we can get to your story. Or
right, this
sorry,
will be
your
a little longer.
list. our long list. I have to tell a bad pun about vaccines. All right, let's go.
All right, that should be easy to do. Okay. This is from an article I found, and it's called 14 Diseases You Almost Forgot About Thanks to Vaccine from healthychildren.org.
I love healthy children.
Right, but and they're giving me a lot of the facts, so all my facts, and a lot of my other facts come from the following sources: the Center for Disease Control, National Institute of Health, and the World Health Organization. So I rounded up my own facts to support these paragraphs. And I had to cut one, as you notice, the article is 14, and this is Thursday's 13, so I cut the most
honorable
obvious
mention.
one, which is, it gets honorable mention, but it really shouldn't be in the article because it's influenza, which we have not forgotten about, because that's the one where you got to get a vaccination every single year.
And also, everyone still gets it all the time, right? Oh, I got a cold again.
Because it was their number 3 on the list, but I took it off the list completely because nobody forgot about it. So
nobody's forgotten it, yeah.
But we do have a list, and it starts off with polio.
Oh,
yes,
yeah, great well, not great polio, but
polio.
Infamous polio.
The Global Polio Eradication Initiative was announced in 1988, and from that time, the world took worldwide polio from 368,000 down to 3,700, or 99%. Took it down by a factor of 99%. I don't know if that's a factor, but anyway, 99%. Polio is a crippling and potentially deadly infectious disease caused by polio virus. The virus spreads from person to person and can invade the infected person's brain and spinal cord, causing paralysis. Polio is eliminated in the United States with vaccinations. It's going to be making a comeback, you watch. And continued use of polio vaccine has kept this country polio-free. But polio is still a threat in some other countries, making sure that the infants and children are vaccinated. The best way to prevent polio from returning. Make sure your baby is protected from polio with the polio vaccine. That's right. It cripples children, mostly. Doctors recommend your child get 4 doses of the polio vaccine, also called IPV. Your child will need 1 dose at each year following ages 1 to 2 months, 4 months, 12 to 23 months, and 4 to 6 years. And that's it.
And then you never have to worry about it again.
Unless you get Robert Kennedy Jr. in charge of your health and human services, and then we're going to have outbreaks everywhere. Because he's a frickin' moron. Number 2 on the list. A brainworm guy, tetanus. I've gotten this shot fairly recently. A tetanus shot because I stomped on a nail.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
One of those rusty screws go right in the bottom of my foot. But tetanus, yes. In 1980, there were 513,000 cases of tetanus, and today there's only 21,000. Which is a reduction of 96%.
Nice.
Tetanus causes muscle stiffness and lockjaw and can be fatal. Parents used to warn kids about tetanus every time we scratched, scraped, poked, or sliced ourselves on something metal. Nowadays, the tetanus vaccine is part of a disease-fighting vaccine called DTaP, with a small a, which provides protection against tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis, they're coming up on the list. Doctors recommend that your child get 5 doses of DTaP. Imagine that, a shot that gets rid of 3 diseases. Isn't that something? A shot for the best protection of your child. Need 1 dose of each of the following ages: 1 to 12 months, 4 months, 6 months, 12 to 23 months, and 4 to 6 years. Or whenever you step on a rusty nail. Number 3, we're getting into the liver diseases. Hepatitis B. Universal hepatitis B vaccination, which is called Hep B, of all infants beginning at birth, provides a critical safeguard and prevents infection among infants born to people with HBV. In 2022, however, the global coverage of birth dose was only 45% of infants, and 84% of children globally received 3 doses of Hep B vaccine.
Bless you.
Excuse me, I'm getting vocal fry because it's got to be winter time causing that. Hopefully I'm just not dying slowly, right? From one of these diseases. Viral hepatitis affects more than 300 million people globally. Most people are not diagnosed or getting treatment they need. Each day, 3,500 people die from liver disease caused by viral hepatitis worldwide. Safe and effective vaccines, prevention and treatments can avert liver disease and cancer caused by viral hepatitis. Increasing intervention and prevention methods can save money and lives. 780,000 people per year die from complications. That's in the world from hepatitis B. It is especially dangerous for babies since hepatitis B virus can be spread from infected mother to child during birth. About 9 out of every 10 infants who contract it from their mothers become chronically infected, which is why babies should get the first dose of hepatitis B vaccine shortly after birth. All pregnant women should be tested and all babies should be vaccinated. Doctors recommend that your child get 3 doses of hepatitis B shot for the best protection. Typically, your child will need 1 dose at each of the following ages: shortly after birth, 1 to 2 months, and 6 months. Next on the hit parade, as we're talking about hepatitis, its predecessor, hepatitis A. Yeah, probably the first hepatitis they gave a name to, right? In the United States, the number of reported hepatitis A cases varies from year to year, but it has been decreasing overall. In 2019, there were 18,000 reported cases. In 2020, only 9,000. That might have a lot
that's
to do
reduced
with
by half.
That might have a lot to do with the pandemic, I would say, because a lot of people who were already sick might have had, you know what I mean? A lot of people stayed home. Nobody was going to the doctor. People were only reporting their symptoms, and everybody was going, "You've got COVID," right? Anyway,
I would argue it's because people started washing their hands way more because they didn't want to catch COVID. They were just cleaner.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm just speculating. That's just me speculating. There's no science behind it. In 2022, there was only 2,000 cases, so really down. A significant decrease from 2019, which is 1 out of 9, almost 90%. Hepatitis A causes a mild to severe illness, an estimated 1.4 million per year, and a further 113 million people being infected but not developing symptoms. Although the disease is rarely fatal and patients that recover have lifelong immunity, it can cause debilitating symptoms and, in rarer cases, deadly acute liver failure. Hepatitis A vaccine was developed in 1995, fairly recently. Since then has cut the number of cases dramatically in the United States. Hepatitis A is contagious liver disease and is transmitted through person-to-person contact or through contaminated food and water. Vaccinating against hepatitis A is a good way to help your baby stay Hep A free and healthy. Doctors recommend your child get 2 doses of the hepatitis A vaccine. Your child will need 1 dose at each of the following ages: 12 to 23 months and 6 months after the last dose. And we're going down our list. We're knocking them down. Number 5. Have you ever known anybody that's caught rubella? Well, probably not, because there's a good reason. Because vaccines. As of January 2024, 175 of 194 countries had introduced rubella vaccines, and global coverage was estimated at 69%. Reported rubella cases declined 97% from 670.
Wow.
670,894 cases in 102 countries in 2000 to only 17,000 cases in 78 countries in 2022. So it was removed from 24 countries completely. CRS rates are highest in the WHO, the World Health Organization. Africa and Southeast Asian regions where vaccinated coverage was the lowest. Rubella is spread by coughing and sneezing. It is especially dangerous for a pregnant woman and her developing baby. If an unvaccinated pregnant woman gets infected with rubella, she can have a miscarriage or her baby could die just after birth. Also, she can pass the disease to her developing baby who can develop serious birth defects. Make sure you and your children are protected from rubella by getting vaccinated on schedule. Doctors recommend that your child get 2 shots of the MMR vaccine. Your child should get 1 dose of each of the following ages: 12 to 23 months and 4 to 6 years. But, of course, we're going to have a lot of stupid parents out there in this country now who are not going to get their children vaccinated, and they're going to be killing other people's children. So being ignorant is dangerous. Don't forget it. Only believing the news you want to hear is dangerous.
Yeah.
This is one that has an abbreviation. It's called HIB. That's number 6 on our list. HIB.
Infamous HIV.
Not HIV, HIB. Its official name is.
Sorry, V and B sound very similar.
Yeah, there's no vaccine for HIV yet. HIB, or its official name, Haemophilus influenzae type B. That's what it's called. All right, so we're just going to abbreviate the HIB, and we're going to talk about what. Before vaccines, there were over 2.2 million cases of HIV disease and 520,000 deaths each year. In children under 5 years old, there were 357,000 cases of meningitis and 445 cases of other HIV diseases each year. So it causes meningitis, viral meningitis, which is a brain disease, a swelling of the brain tissue. At least 180,500 children died from HIV each year. This is before the vaccines. Now, after the vaccine, HIV causes and death have decreased approximately 90% since the introduction of vaccines.
I love 90% decreases.
The incidence of HIV meningitis in children has decreased dramatically. HIV is no longer a leading cause of bacterial meningitis deaths in infants and young children in many countries. Now that something else is the leading cause, right? I don't know. I guess that's good news. And we're going to talk about HIV isn't as well known as some of the other diseases thanks to vaccine. HIV can do some serious damage to a child's immune system, to cause brain damage, hearing damage, hearing loss, and even death. HIV mostly affects kids under 5 years old.
What the hell, man?
Brain damage? That's not fun, is it? Before the vaccine, over 200,000 kids were infected each year. That's about 400 yellow school buses worth of kids. There's a list I gotta make. Measurements that are not standard. School buses full of kids has got to be on the list. Anyway, let's measure this on school buses full of kids. That people can understand that. No, we don't understand that. I don't understand most of these measurements. They say that you can fit 7 World Trade Centers inside that. I don't even know how big that is. I would have to look at the thing in person. It's not there anymore, you know? Anyway, you can fit 12 Titanics. I've never been in the Titanic. I don't know how big it is.
What
Anyway.
is that? Yeah, I've never seen. At least you've at least seen the Empire State Building. You've been on top of it.
But I still have no concept of how big it is. It's just a big fucking building, you know? It's tall. That's all I can tell you, right? I can tell you how many stories it is, for instance. Even though I've been there, right? Anyway, that's about 40 yellow school buses of kids. Of these kids, 1 in 5 suffered brain damage or became deaf. Even with the treatment, as many of 1 out of 20 kids with HIV meningitis dies. Get your child vaccinated to help them beat the odds. Doctors recommend your child gets 4 doses of HIV vaccine. Your child will need 1 dose each of the following ages: 1 to 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, and 12 to 23 months. Moving on, as we move to the halfway point of our list, we get the one that's making a comeback in Texas. Yeah, that's right. You guessed it. Measles. Yeah. Ever know anybody to get measles? Me neither. I've never, not since real early childhood. When kids are like, oh, Jimmy's got the measles, can't come to school today. Everybody's got to be quarantined.
Oh, man.
That's nice,
Tommy, not
right?
again.
Measles is terrible because it spreads after you leave the room, but we'll talk about that. Before the introduction of measles vaccine in 1963 and widespread vaccination, major epidemics occurred approximately every 2 or 3 years and caused an estimated 2.6 million deaths each year.
Ugh.
Think about that. That's like a COVID every 2 or 3 years, man. An estimated 107,500 people died from measles in 2023, mostly children under the age of 5 years, despite the availability of safe and cost-effective vaccines.
I wonder what could have caused that.
But even though that's still a reduction of 96%. So Did you know your child can get measles just by being in a room where a person with measles has been, even up to 2 hours after that person has left? Yeah, they slobbered all over the doorknob. Well, you touch that doorknob, you've got measles. Measles is very contagious, and it can be serious, especially for young children. Because measles is common in other parts of the world, unvaccinated people can get measles while traveling and bring it into the United States. Anyone who's not protected against measles is at risk, and make sure to stay on top of your date of your child's vaccine. Doctors recommend your child get 2 doses of an MMR vaccine. Your child will need 1 dose at each of the following ages: 12 to 23 months and 4 to 6 years. I mean, you can get a lot of these vaccines at the same time. That's the way we did it. The doctor would say, "Hey, your kid's got to come in for an appointment." Okay, what other shots does he? She need.
It's too much trouble. Can I just let my kid die from measles instead?
Yeah, and make other people's kids die too. You know. Infants 6 to 11 months old should have 1 dose of MMR shot before traveling abroad. Infants vaccinated before 12 months of age should be revaccinated on or after their first birthday with 2 doses, each dose separated by at least 28 days. And of course, we could probably do a story on Texas, which is now leading the world in measles because they're so smart down there. They don't need our silly science. They learned from Joe Rogan and people like that they're making everybody stupid somehow. Yeah, okay.
Oh, no.
Number 8.
That's not a problem for me. I don't care if people are stupid.
Yeah, well, it affects us all if people are stupid, though, right? Number 8.
The idea that vaccines are making people stupid isn't like, oh no, we better stop. That's okay. Sure.
It's more likely all the plastics in our drinking water are making us stupid. But, yeah, anyway. Our number 8 is whooping cough. That's its common name. Its technical medical name is pertussis. Whooping cough. It sounds as bad as it is. It's that hacky cough. With no phlegm comes up after you're coughing either. It's just coughing and nothing. Just no phlegm. It's like nothing, no product, no end product at the end. But this table shows we're going to do sample years of number of reported cases by year. 1922. In 1922, there's 107,473 cases of whooping cough reported. In 1934, it reached its peak. This is the United States only. Reached its peak of 265,269. A vaccine was developed in the 40s, and the reported cases stayed high until 1948, where it dropped under 100,000 for the first time to 74,000. By 2022, there's only 3,000 cases of whooping cough in the United States. Only 3,000. Way down because of vaccines. That's right.
Oh my God.
Whooping cough. The same vaccine you get for... What's wrong? Same vaccine you get for...
I'm just reacting to you, 5 more. Yeah.
5 more, we'll be through it soon. Anyway, the same vaccine you get for tetanus is the one you get for whooping cough.
Yeah,
whooping cough.
What did you say? The vaccine cures 3 diseases?
Yeah, and whooping cough is one of them. Whooping cough, or pertussis, is a highly contagious disease that can be deadly for babies. Whooping cough, oh man, a baby coughing is just sad, man. You're just like, oh my God, that baby's not going to live. Whooping cough can cause uncontrollable, violent coughing, which often makes it hard to breathe. Its whooping name comes from the sharp breath intake right after the coughing fit. In babies, this disease can cause life-threatening pauses in breathing with no cough at all. Whooping cough is especially dangerous to babies that are too young to be vaccinated themselves. Mothers should get the whooping cough vaccine during each pregnancy to pass some protection to their babies before birth. It is very important for your baby to get the whooping cough vaccine on time so he or she can start building his or her own protection against the disease. Since 2010, between 15,000 and 50,000 cases of whooping cough were reported each year in the United States, with cases reported in every state. Doctors recommend your child get 5 doses of the DTaP, which we brought up earlier, which your child will need 1 dose at each of the following ages: 1 to 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 12 to 23 months, and 4 to 6 years. So whooping cough. Number 9, pneumococcal disease. Yes, that one seems kind of semi-pornographic. Pneumococcal disease. The World Health Organization estimates that about 1 million children die from pneumococcal disease each year. Pneumococcal disease is a major public health problem worldwide. The first pneumococcal vaccine was licensed for use in the United States in 1977. The first conjugate pneumococcal vaccine was licensed in the United States in 2000. So they didn't actually start using it until 2000. Pneumococcus causes more than 50% of all cases of bacterial meningitis in the United States. Approximately 2,000 of pneumococcal meningitis occur each year. The disease is caused by bacteria called Streptococcus pneumoniae. It causes ear infections, sinus infections, pneumonia, and even meningitis, making it very dangerous for children. The germs can invade parts of the body like the brain or the spinal cord that are normally free from germs. Make sure you keep your kids safe from dangerous disease by vaccinating. Doctors recommend that your child get 4 doses of the pneumococcal conjugate vaccine, also called PCV13. 1 dose at each of the following ages: 1 to 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, and 12 to 23 months. This is why raising kids is fun.
You get to pay for all the vaccines, or help
They're
them
normally
live?
free.
Okay.
Normally free.
Even in America, they're
small
free.
fee.
Well, for now.
Well, yeah, if they want you to go to public school, you got to get these vaccinations. Number 10 is the rotavirus. And rotavirus, no, it's not named after a rotary blade on a helicopter. No, it's not. It's 440,000 annual deaths worldwide. In 1974, this is the timeline, researchers identified the human rotavirus in the United States. In 1998, RotaShield, the first rotavirus vaccine, was licensed in the United States. And that was not that effective. So in 2006, the RotaTech, a new rotavirus vaccine, was licensed. In 2008, there was another one. Rotavirus causes about 111 million episodes of gastroenteritis that require home care each year. 100 million episodes of really bad gas.
Nobody likes
Rotavirus.
that. Nobody likes bad gas.
Gastroenteritis, swollen intestines, basically. We're talking
got a
about
vaccine for this. That's cool.
Well, to prevent the disease that causes it. Rotavirus causes 25 million clinic visits each year. Rotavirus causes 2 million hospitalizations each year. Rotavirus causes 352,000 to 592,000 deaths each year. Children in the poorest countries account for 82% of rotavirus deaths.
Why is the world like this, man?
I'm saying, when everybody thinks that God's protecting them, I always say, why did God kill those 20,000 children today? They got no answer for me. Anyway, rotavirus is contagious and can cause severe watery diarrhea. So this is a fun disease.
Give me more details, why don't you?
Yeah. Diarrhea, often with vomiting, fever, and abnormal pain. Yeah, you're spewing from both ends. And abdominal pain, mostly in infants and young children, not cool. Children suffering is never good. I hate to see it. Children can become severely dehydrated from disease and need to be hospitalized. If a dehydrated child does not get needed care, they could die. Rotavirus is one of the first vaccines an infant can get, and is the best way to protect your child from rotavirus disease.
And as an adult, it's your prerogative to protect children because they don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, that's why our stupid adults in America are screwing everybody. If you're a stupid adult, you're a dangerous moron. Sorry. You should be just kept from voting for sure. Doctors recommend that your child get 2 or 3 doses of vaccine at 1 to 2 months, 4 months, and 6 months. Number 11 on our list. So only 3 left. We get down to the bottom. Short and sweet. Mumps. I've had mumps. You ever had mumps?
No, I don't think so. Well, you would know more than me because I was.
You were back. No, you haven't. You were vaccinated. Yeah. Before the U.S. mumps vaccination program began in 1967, about 186 cases were reported each year. In 2018,
that's not too much. Only 186.
186,000 cases were reported each year. Okay, there you go.
You didn't say 1,000, so I was like,
186,000. I did.
There you go. That's better.
186,000 cases reported each year. Well, to give you a reference, let's see. In 2018 to 2023, that's 5 years, only 8,000 mumps cases were reported. So, with 47% confirmed and 53% probable. So, mumps has been basically eradicated, but not completely. Mumps is best known for causing puffy cheeks and swollen jaw. That's due to the swelling of the salivary glands. Other symptoms include fever, head and muscle aches, and tiredness. Mumps is a contagious disease and there is no treatment. Mumps is still a threat today. Every year, people in the United States get mumps. In recent years, mumps outbreaks has occurred in settings where there is close extended contact with infected people, such as being in the same classroom or playing the same sports team.
So it's similar to measles.
Yeah, well, it doesn't stay on doorknobs for 2 hours. The MMR vaccine protects you and your family against mumps, measles, and rubella. So the MMR, again, a triple threat. Gets mumps, measles, and rubella.
Nice.
Doctors recommend your child get 2 doses of MMR shot. Your child will need 1 dose at each of the following ages: 12 to 23 months and 4 to 6 years. Number 12, disease that I've had. I had it and you didn't get it. You didn't get it because your mom was vaccinated while she was pregnant. Chickenpox.
Hey.
That's right. So I had it, your sister had it, and you didn't get it, and your other sister didn't get it. Both of you didn't get it because you both were vaccinated while you were in the womb. This chickenpox vaccine was developed in 1995. That's really recent. So I guess you didn't get it while you were in the womb. Aha. Maybe you got it, we didn't know it.
I can't remember.
Before the yeah. So Melanie definitely got it before that, but you didn't get it. So yeah, that's probably why Robin got it, because she didn't get vaccinated for chickenpox. That wasn't
maybe I was
in
on a
existence.
trial. Maybe mom was like, I would like to be on the trial for it. Maybe I don't know.
You were just immune for whatever reason. You have a high immune system. Before the vaccine, about 4 million people got chickenpox each year. That's a lot. More than 10,500 people were hospitalized with chickenpox each year, and 150 people died from chickenpox each year. After the vaccine, chickenpox cases have decreased 97% since the vaccine was introduced.
Another great 90% decrease. I love that.
Hospitalizations and deaths among people under 20 have decreased 97 and 99%.
Nice.
Each. The vaccine has prevented millions of cases, hospitalizations, and death. Don't forget, hospitalizations, the diseases take a lot out of you, even if they don't kill you. So I had chickenpox and Robin had it, and man, I was weak for like 2 years. It took me a long time.
I remember when you got chickenpox. You were super sick. Yeah.
Yeah, I got I discovered I had chickenpox. This is kind of funny. On my way to a job interview. I was on my way to a job interview, so I was trying to change jobs. And I was driving down the road, and I felt my nose running. And I went like this, and it was blood. I'm like, holy shit. I'm bleeding all over. It's running down my face, and I'm driving down the road, and I'm grabbing whatever. And the next, of course, I had chickenpox, and that's when I discovered it. Anyway, chickenpox is a disease that causes an itchy rash of blisters and fever. A person with chickenpox may have a lot of blisters, as many as 500 all over the body. Chickenpox can be serious and even life-threatening, especially in babies, adults, and people with weakened immune systems. Even healthy children can get really sick. Vaccinating kids in the early ages is especially important to keep your children healthy. Doctors recommend that your child get 2 chickenpox shots, so your child will need 1 dose at each of the following ages: 12 to 23 months. And 4 to 6 years.
It seems to be most of these vaccines are at the beginning and then somewhere after the terrible 2s, I guess. 4 to 6 years.
Right. Get them early.
Right before school, I guess. School age.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's when it's all the mass socialization takes change, and people with their snotty noses getting all over each other. Anyway, diphtheria is number 13. If you can see it on the
list. Our final vaccine, illness that has disappeared thanks to vaccines.
The hardest one to spell too. DIPHTHEIRA. The ERIA. Yeah. Since the introduction of widespread use of diphtheria toxoid in the 1920s, respiratory diphtheria has been well controlled, with an incidence of approximately 1,000 cases reported annually. 1,000. Before the vaccinations, at least 200,000 cases occurred annually. That's like 99.5%. Worldwide, there's 24,000 reported cases in 2023. That has gone up since 2017.
Oh, no.
That's right. So that's not a good thing. Most of us only know diphtheria is an obscure disease from long ago thanks to diphtheria vaccine babies get. The vaccine called DTaP, which we covered before, provides protection against diphtheria, tetanus, and whooping cough. While preventable, diphtheria does still exist. It can cause a thick covering in the back of the nose or throat and makes it hard to breathe or swallow. That's what I'm doing right now. Diphtheria can also lead to heart failure, paralysis, and even death. Make sure to vaccinate and keep your dangerous infection from your kids. Doctors recommend your child get 5 doses. 5 for diphtheria. Your child will need 1 dose at each of the following ages: 1 to 2 months, 4 months, 6 months, 12 to 23 months, and 4 to 6 years. There's your Thursday 13. Sorry for taking too long. Now, give us a song.
No, it was a bad pun, not a song.
Oh, bad. Oh, okay. I was so long I forgot.
And my bad pun is, I told my wife I'd never vaccinate our kids. She freaked out and shouted, "What? Why?" I told her I would rather have a doctor do it.
Ah. Oh. That's sad.
Since we're going on the whole idea that people are vaccinating their kids, yeah, you don't need to do it. Have a doctor do it, please. Please vaccinate your children. Stop being weird and dangerous to society. And let's roll the wheel for your bad pun.
All the people that practice internet science are not going to get vaccinated. They're not going to vaccinate their kids because they're smarter. They're smarter than the rest of us. But you know.
Well, we got bad pun again. We're just punning it up today.
Right.
Okay. My story is going to be about a British Egyptian archaeologic find. The first significant mummy tomb discovery in really decades, almost a century. Actually, no, a century. Yeah, a century. This is by Theo Ferrant on Euronews Culture. Oh, sorry, I'm not on camera. I was on camera the whole time. I did that before, but it's okay. Archaeologists have discovered the tomb of Pharaoh Thutmose II in Egypt, marking the first pharaonic burial site since Tutankhamun in 1922. So a century-year-long find. More than a century after the world was captivated by Howard Carter's discovery, archaeologists have uncovered another remarkable find, the final resting place of King Thutmose II, one of ancient Egypt's elusive 18th dynasty rulers. Where the hell is this guy buried? We finally got him. Found him. Discovered by a joint British-Egyptian team led by Dr. Piers Litherland, the tomb was hidden away in the western valleys of the Theban necropolis near Luxor. Until now, the whereabouts of Thutmose II's original burial site had remained a mystery. While his mummified remains were uncovered 200 years ago in Deir el-Bahir Cache above the mortuary temple of Hasheput, I know that's not how you say it, but I can't remember how to say that word. The location of his tomb has been lost to history. Mohammed Ismail Khalid, the Secretary General of Egypt's Supreme Court of Antiquities, said in a statement that the discovery was one of the most significant archaeological breakthroughs in recent years. First discovered in 2022, the tomb was originally thought to belong to one of the royal wives of the so-called Thutmose kings, a succession of pharaohs named Thutmose who once ruled ancient Egypt. However, archaeological evidence eventually proved that the tomb was the resting place for Thutmose II, who died around 1479 BC. Right, that's BC. That's 2 millennia almost before we here are today. After a relatively short reign, explained Khalid, studies suggest that Thutmose II died around the age of 30, after which his wife and half-sister assumed the throne. Hatshepsut. I know that's not how you say it. Hatshepsut assumed the throne, where she ruled for around 21 years. She's like a famous Egyptian empress, I guess, but I can't remember how to say her name. From around 1479 BC to 1458 BC. What was inside the tomb? Inside, the archaeological team were met with unmistakable signs of a royal tomb, inscriptions from Duat in ancient funerary texts reserved for pharaohs, fragments of alabaster jars bearing the names of Mostu and Hashtavut, and blue painted ceilings, complete with yellow stairs. It's very poorly preserved, yeah. It's like the poorly preserved picture. It's just a bunch of rocks, really. I think it got, grave robbed. However, the tomb itself was completely empty and in very poor condition. Unlike many ancient tombs that were plundered by grave robbers, this one had been deliberately cleared. Researchers believe this was done after the tomb was hit by severe flooding, as it had been built beneath a waterfall. Preliminary studies suggest that the tomb's original contents were relocated to another site during ancient times after a flooding. Muhammad Abdel Badi, the head of Egyptian Antiquities Sector at the Supreme Council of Antiquities, said in a statement. Dr. Piers Litherland said the team will continue to work to uncover more secrets of the area and locate the final resting place of the tomb's original contents. Because they've only been able to find the mummy, but they haven't found where they moved everything off to. So, maybe it's one of the tombs that's been plundered, right? And since it's been plundered, I think they still have hieroglyphics on the walls and stuff to indicate who was this tomb belonged to. So I guess that's the thing here. They haven't found any indication of where this tomb actually belonged until now. So that's very cool. Very archaeological discovery. And
right
on to this day in history.
Of course, most archaeologists just miss their mummy. So there's your pun. There's your Freudian pun. Anyway.
All right, let's get my final segue and
spin the wheel.
Okay, I'm rolling again because I'm not. We've been getting bad pun. This wheel's broken.
Yeah. All right.
I'm gonna take my free reroll here, and then it's gonna be bad pun again. I have to reset the page.
Okay, so this day in history, and you're gonna what?
I've got accurate metaphor. Okay.
All right, so we've got many stories to choose from. We're going back into the mists of time. We're only going back to 1872, which is only 150 years ago.
Oh, okay.
The Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City opened to the public and later became one of the foremost museums of the world. So anyway, I did send you a video. Did I mention that?
Yeah, I already have it.
Okay. I'm not awake. Moving forward, Ansel Adams, the most important landscape photographer of the 20th century, was born in San Francisco. Just in case you were wondering who the most important landscape photographer was, because it's a hierarchy apparently.
Yeah.
1909, Italian author Filippo Tommaso Marinetti coined the term futurism in the Parisian newspaper Le Figaro. In 1929, the U.S. Congress formally accepted the deeds of secession of Eastern Samoa, forming American Samoa. So some paperwork was done. 1943, the volcano Paracutine in Michoacan state in Mexico erupted, eventually burying 2 villages. I got to learn how to pronounce things, man. So volcano, 1943, big-ass volcano erupted and buried 2 villages. Hopefully people got out before that shit happened. 1976, the Southeastern Asia Treaty Organization held its final exercise in Manila and formally ended on June 30th, 1977. The Southeast Asia Treaty Organization, or SATO. In 1986, the Soviet Union launched the core module of the space station Mir, which was up for quite a while. 2005, Hunter S. Thompson died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. He created the genre known as gonzo journalism and highly personal style of reporting that made him a counterculture icon. Apparently he had a terminal disease and he decided to end it himself. And of course, we may have mentioned this before on his show. One of his best friends was Johnny Depp. And as part of his funeral, Johnny Depp had Hunter S. Thompson's ashes put into fireworks. And that was his funeral. They had a big funeral of fireworks, or Hunter Thompson was in the fireworks. You want to talk about, that's a cool burial, man. I'm sorry. That is cool. Even though he shot himself, he took the easy way out. Our featured biography, our featured event is 1962. John Glenn orbits Earth. John H. Glenn Jr., the oldest of seven astronauts selected by NASA for Project Mercury spaceflight training, later U.S. Senator, became, on this day in 1962, the first American to orbit Earth, doing so 3 times, which really didn't take all that long. So, because you can fly when you're orbiting Earth. You can literally, you're flying and you're nothing holding you back. There's no jet stream, there's no wind, there's nothing. You're just flying through space, being held in Earth's orbit. Her other birthdays today, let's see, our featured biography is Rihanna. Rihanna, Barbadian singer Rihanna, is turning 37 today, so you share a birthday with Rihanna. Born February 20th, 1988. She's only 6 years older than you. She was born in St. Michael's, Barbados, and famously had a scumbag boyfriend. I forget his name. Let's not bring him up. 1963, Charles Barkley's birthday. Let's see who else you share a birthday with. Charles Barkley, born in 1963, famous basketball player and commentator. One of the best basketball commentators because he has no filter. 1966, Cindy Crawford, American fashion model, was born, and you famously share a birthday with Kurt Cobain, American musician, born in 1967.
Yep.
Trevor Noah, born in 1984, is your birthday brother. And we already brought up Rihanna, so there you go. You got a star team of birthday people who are all still alive, except for Kurt Cobain, who took the Hunter S. Thompson way out. So... Well, Hunter S. Thompson, death day is the same as Kurt Cobain's birthday. Isn't that weird? Okay, anyway, so... And both guys took the easy way out.
Maybe they're the same person.
No. No, they were both alive at the same. They're definitely not the same person. That would be a hell of a disguise.
No, I mean, like reincarnation, he was reincarnated in Kurt Cobain.
They're alive at the same time. They're alive at the same time. What are you talking about?
Okay. I thought you said his birthday was the same day as his death day.
Not the same day.
Okay.
No, Johnny Depp was at his funeral. How could Johnny Depp be at Hunter S. Thompson if he... Never mind. Hunter S. Thompson killed himself on this day...
Okay. I misunderstood what you said.
2000 and something. 2005. Okay.
Oh, okay. Really? Well, okay.
It's just the same calendar day, not the same exact day.
Okay.
Don't you have somewhere to go? Stop interrupting me. Anyway, it's National Cherry Pie Day, which probably should have been on, probably because it's actually Washington's birthday today, or tomorrow.
Oh, did he like cherry pie?
George Washington. Yeah.
Oh.
Right. National Cherry Pie Day. It's National Love Your Pet Day. Who doesn't love their pet? If you have a pet, you don't love your pet. Why do you have a pet?
Yeah, get rid of it, dude.
Anyway. I hate my pet. What the fuck? National Muffin Day. It's National Muffin Day.
Hell yeah, I'm going to get a muffin.
Man.
I'm going to go to the dentist. I'm going to get my teeth drilled down, and then I'm going to eat a muffin, because that's probably the only thing I could eat.
Yeah. You won't be able to feel it in your mouth because you have Novocaine, probably. National Comfy Day, so that's a good day to go to the dentist. And it's National Leadership Day. So those are your days. Those are your history. That's all the nonsense we can bring up today. For this day, February 20th, 2025, on Before Cherry Pie.
Cherry pie, cherry pie. It's also internationally... Oh, I have to have a simile. Cherry pie is just like blood. There you go. There's your simile.
Really? In what
Talking about bloody noses when you had chicken pox. That's all it reminded me of. It's also International World of Social Justice Day. So not only is my birthday where I'm turning 31, but you can also celebrate social justice. Strengthen not just the transition for a sustainable future towards low carbon economies, but also for treating everyone, especially the most vulnerable, like they deserve to be alive. Make sure that you ensure workers, indigenous people, and marginalized communities receive the support they need for retaining job creation, strong social protection measures. In other words, decarbonize and economic transformation should go hand in hand with policies that fight poverty, reduce inequality, and open up opportunities for all. Indeed. I'm all about equity, not equality, though. I believe everyone should have the same chances which is why especially Black people need a higher chance. And that's why we need stuff like DIE, because they start at a negative chance because the world is anti-Black. So when you start negative, you need to improve it so that they start really positive so they have the same chance as anybody else. Anyways, this has been Allison from the Netherlands, here where I'm about to go to the dentist, and Roger from the West Coast of the United States. We finished off another Thursday's 13. I hope you learned a lot about diseases that we have gotten rid of or almost eradicated completely thanks to vaccines. So make sure you get vaccinated if you haven't. And if you have children, make sure they're vaccinated so we can continue eradicating all these diseases. We will see you guys tomorrow for the Friday news dump. So we can cover all the news before the weekend so you can have a blissfully free, carefree weekend, because we've told you all you need to know that's going on. Make sure you're subscribed to the Allie and Raj channel. Turn on those notifications so you know when we go live. And let's go to our mic drop moment.
John Glenn getting a rocket strapped to his behind and getting shot into space.
That would be pretty scary.
He's way up there at the tip, right? He's way up there at the tip, right? And
that's the
all of that
capsule.
stuff is just right.
Yeah, it takes a lot of G-force to leave the G-force.
He went into space in his 80s also. He'd become the oldest person to ever go into space.
Yeah, I know some people who are pilots who are like, I'd rather die in the sky.
Right.
Right? They're like, I'm going to go up there when I'm 80 and just like die from the G-forces or something, and that's how I'm going to go.
It's nice up there if you're a pilot, man. You can handle it.
I mean, if you're a pilot, you already like it, because people who are doing that stuff aren't doing it because they don't like it, right? Astronauts are doing it because they like it.
One of the first tests is to see if you will pass out from the G-forces that are generated from escaping gravity.
Yeah.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.